You should never eat at these haunted London restaurants. London keeps its ghosts close, especially the ones who refuse to leave the table. One minute you're ordering sticky toffee pudding, the next you were sharing your chair with someone who died in 1747. Tonight we were counting down 5 restaurants and pubs where the food is hot, the beer is cold, and the dead never pay their tab. Stay until the end, because number 1 still asks for the bill. Section 1. The Bow Bells. Bow, let's start light, because this ghost just wants to embarrass you. The Bow Bells sits on a quiet East End road, pastel walls, decent fish and chips, and a ladies' loo that flushes itself. Sounds harmless, right? Except the chain gets yanked while you're still on the seat. Back in '73, the landlady held a seance to ask whoever was haunting the plumbing to kindly stop. The toilet door exploded off its hinges mid-session. Nobody was hurt, but the bolt shot across the room like a bullet. Patrons now report icy fingers on their shoulders, laughter echoing over the hand dryer, and the distinct feeling someone is watching them reapply lipstick. Staff leave the cubicle light on at closing. If they switch it off, the phantom flushes every urinal at once and floods the floor. Health and safety nightmare? Would you still wash your hands if you knew a prank-loving spook was timing your loo break? Section 2. The Rising Sun, Smithfield Head north to Smithfield, and the Rising Sun looks like every other Victorian pub until you learn it doubled as a 19th century drug and drag morgue. Body snatchers called the Resurrection Men bought pints for lonely drinkers, slipped opium into the ale, then hauled the comatose bodies through a tunnel to St. Bart's next door. Surgeons paid by the corpse. The pub got free entertainment. Management today admits nothing, but residents upstairs wake up with bruised ankles and duvets yanked to the floor. One chef quit after hearing footsteps pacing the corridor at 3 a.m. CCTV showed no one there, yet the audio track counts 9 clear footfalls. A barback who mocked the story felt cold fingers circle his throat while pulling a pint. The hand pump handle snapped clean off, spraying ale across the bar. If you still fancy a nightcap, order something bottled. Keg lines here have a habit of pouring blood red when the cellar lights flicker. Section 3. The Flask, Highgate. Highgate Cemetery might get the tourists, but the Flask gets the ghosts. Built 1663, the pub stored funeral ale for cemetery workers. The cellar doubled as a makeshift morgue when grave diggers needed a quick break. The star ghost is a Spanish barmaid who fell hard for the married publican. When he refused to leave his wife, she hanged herself from the keg hoist. Staff now hear sobbing at last orders, and pint glasses slide along the bar until they drop, still intact, into the drip tray. Regulars blame Maria for blowing on their necks, flicking beer mats, and switching the quiz machine to Spanish. A manager told me the thermostat drops 10 degrees whenever someone jokes about suicide. Frost once formed on a half-finished lager in July. Dogs refuse to enter the snug, hackles up growling at the ceiling rose where the rope once hung. If you visit, don't sit at table 9 unless you want your IPA salted with tears. Section 4. The 10 Bells, Spitalfields. Jack the Ripper stalked these streets, and his victims drank here. Annie Chapman downed her final rum in the 10 Bells hours before her throat was cut in 1888. Mary Jane Kelly did the same a month later. Their ghosts allegedly returned for comfort they never found in life. Staff report phantom touches on the small of the back, like someone trying to push through a crowded bar that isn't crowded at all. A Victorian landlord materializes at 2:07 a.m., closing time in 1888, strangling sensation included. One barman felt pressure so strong he woke up on the floor with fingerprint bruises around his larynx. CCTV caught a glass sliding off a shelf and hovering mid-air for 3 full seconds before dropping. The pub tried rebranding in the 90s. The signage fell off the wall twice, both times at 11:47 p.m., the exact moment Annie was last seen alive. Order the house cider if you dare. Just don't be shocked if your phone camera snaps a selfie you didn't take, featuring a woman in a battered bonnet standing just behind you. Section 5. The Spaniards Inn, Hampstead. Here's the big one. The Spaniard's Inn dates from 1585, so old that highwayman Dick Turpin's dad ran the place. Turpin himself still thunders up the driveway on Black Bess, vanishing through the front door at full gallop. Inside, the ghost of Juan Porrero drifts across the dining room. He and his brother dueled over a woman, and Juan lost. Staff hear his heels clicking on flagstones, replaying the fatal fight. Upstairs, the White Lady glides along the corridor where the lovers once met. She smells of lavender and broken promises. Kitchen staff feel taps on their elbows, names whispered into headsets, pans levitating an inch above the stove. A waitress told me her water jug slid the length of a banquet table, stopped dead, and bowed like a servant. Most unsettling, dogs that usually beg for scraps crawl under tables and whimper, eyes fixed on an empty chair where Juan supposedly sits. If you're determined to eat here, book the garden. Indoors, the past clings to you like cigar smoke. Finish your dessert quickly. Guests who linger after midnight sometimes find their phones drained to zero, and their photos replaced by a single grainy image of a man in a plumed hat, smiling through cracked teeth. Quick pause. If these stories made you rethink that dinner reservation, tap like so the algorithm knows you're still alive, and hit subscribe before something else taps you on the shoulder. More haunted hospitality coming right up. Section 6. Honorable Mention. The Grenadier, Belgravia. We can't leave out the Grenadier, once an officer's mess where a young subaltern was flogged to death for cheating at cards in 1818. Every September, his tormented ghost stack stools into a pyramid, fills ashtrays with rose petals, and leaves the scent of gunpowder in the air. A previous landlord tried to pay off the debt by leaving a brandy on the hearth. The glass cracked, the brandy boiled, and the receipt burst into flames. Staff now leave a full bottle at closing. By morning, it's always half empty, though the cork remains sealed. Tourists love the tradition. The ghost loves the brandy. If you visit, bring a new pack of playing cards and leave them on the mantel. By the time you finish your pint, they'll be shuffled and you want to remember doing it. Conclusion. So there they are. 5 London eateries where the atmosphere is literally to die for. From cheeky toilet ghosts to highwaymen on horseback, the capital proves you're never dining alone. Next time you scan a menu, ask yourself who's already sitting at your table and whether they want the last chip. Dare to visit any of these spots? Drop your bravest plans in the comments and share this video with the friend who always says, "I am starving." They might reconsider. Until then, keep your fork in one hand and a crucifix in the other. And remember, in London, the past is always hungry. I really appreciate your time and support. It means a lot to me.